One, we are live.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Hey, happy Friday. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? I'm
Very
trying
good.
to
What, you sound like you're gonna die.
yeah,
Oh, oh, yeah.
I'm trying to smile, but it's not that easy. This time
Yes,
we have a topic that is horrible, terrible,
we do.
frightening.
And the topic is I'm going to read what you sent me this morning. The
Yeah.
topic today is that the state child protections agencies in Norway are out of control, and the whole world is talking about it. And I don't think the whole world is talking about it because nobody knows. So you want to talk about it, and you brought with you today a special guest, and his name
Yeah.
is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. You can do that. He's, I guess, an advocate for the children and the parents.
Yeah, it's Mr. Fardal, just Rune Fardal
Okay.
from Bergen, but he speaks English now. Yeah.
That's good because I don't speak English, so it'd be nice to have him on. So,
Yeah.
all
You
right.
speak
So, should we bring
American.
him in?
Yeah, please, please, please.
All right.
He's
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, all right. So, gentlemen, as they say in America, start your engines. Tell us what's going on with the child protection agencies in Norway and the kids and the children and parents. What's going on over there? Because I don't think anybody in the United States has heard of this.
Yeah, do you want to start more or shall I?
Yeah, you know, can I first ask you, how many years have you been helping parents with this crazy attitude from the Norwegian state?
Yeah, a little bit about myself. I worked with this for maybe some 24 years or something. And in the beginning, I experienced many families that had problem with childcare in Norway, the so-called barnevernet. And little by little, I start to search for information, and more people get aware of me. So I start to help people in the meeting with childcare, documents, writing documents for court, answering letter for childcare, etc. And then it went on from there. So today I can say I'm pretty well known in Norway and also in Scandinavia for this work. I know I have helped a lot of parents and children. I have examples, parents calling me and telling me they are alive because of me, the help I gave them. And that's how I work. So I have all through the years got a lot of knowledge about this system. And the system, come back to out in the standing. This is this is the basic for this.
Kind of had a bad connection, I think, here.
Yeah. Do you hear us? Maybe if you go out and come back in again. Runa, you're frozen and we can't hear you.
He's in a bad spot and has a bad connection.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of do want to hear what he's doing, so we're going to kick him from the studio. Hopefully, he hears us and he comes back in. So, Morten, tell us what's
Yeah.
going on since
Yeah.
since your
Well,
guest just kind of went bye-bye. So, tell me what's going on in Norway.
What is going on is that we had a lot of international eyes on us there's well, half a year ago, there's a movie that from India that was made about this topic. Oh, he's back.
There you go. Hopefully this will be better.
There I was again. You dropped out, but I could see myself, but that's okay. Yeah. So I'm helping children and parents and families regarding this conversation with courts and childcare system in Norway. And there is a lot to say, so we just have to see where this goes. But that's a short introduction anyway.
So tell me what you're doing though in Norway, because I'm reading your bio on Wikipedia. Okay, so it says that you are a notorious ruthless activist against child welfare services in Norway. So tell me what you're doing, and I guess what the Norwegian government is doing that you feel isn't right. Like what's going on in Norway that is like got your feathers up for the last 24 years, and like what are you doing to help the families? What's Norway doing that you think they shouldn't do? Like, so what's the premise of what's going on here?
Well, the childcare system is set up to help families if they have problems. But one thing is the theory, and the other is how they practice this work. And what we see is that Norway has been now convicted 25 plus times in the Human Rights Court in Europe for violating human rights. And that's only childcare cases. That means they interpreting the law here in a way that is against human rights. And that started for some 5-6 years ago. Several serious convictions coming, and they're still coming. And this all, my experience is that this is based on an arrogance, both regarding to the law and also scientific way of working. The law is not so bad, but when you don't follow it and make your own laws, that's when the problems start to come. And
so, can you give us an example of how that's going in Norway, where someone's not actually following the law and they make their own? So, what's the law, and what do they make believing, if you will?
Yeah, there is the law, and then there is the interpretation of the law. And that's two different things for this barnevern, the childcare services. And as you see, if you see the map of Norway, there's a lot of fjords in and out all the way up along the coast. And every childcare in every city inside these fjords sort of make their own culture of how they do things. And we have examples where I ask them, don't you use the human rights here? No, we don't practice human rights here. When you get that kind of answer, then you know that they have a problem about the law.
So who doesn't practice human rights in Norway? Who said that to you?
What do you say?
You said that they said they don't practice human rights there. Who said that to you, that they don't practice human rights in Norway?
Childcare workers in several communes in Norway give me that answer, because they are not used to work on that level of the law. You know, that's the top law in Norway, above the Norwegian Grundlov. I don't know the exact conversation in Norway, but the highest law in Norway is the so-called Grundlov, and then you have the International Human Rights Convention above that. And the moment you start to talk in Human Rights Convention, they drop out because they don't follow you. They don't have the knowledge. And I have been to Strasbourg, where the Human Rights Court is, and followed several cases there. So and well aware of that law. And I'm often using that one when I ask, why don't you follow this law? Because that's the highest law. But they are not used to that. They're used to, no, we don't do it that way in our office. That's the answer you sometimes get. And that's where you sort of, what?
Okay.
What you're up against. So,
Rune, I've been in some meetings with you regarding some families in my municipality, and as a politician then, I was by the mayor in the municipality. I was outed a lot, and the politicians are now they don't know it, kind of. I think they know it, but they are afraid. They are afraid to touch any cases in this one. But the new law says that the municipality has a great responsibility, and that is not taken care of in most of the communes. The municipalities, yes.
Yeah, that's right. The responsibility stay with the politician in the different communes, but I don't think they are aware of that so much. They have administrative bosses who they think is responsible, but they are actually not responsible. It's the politicians that's responsible, and they have sort of difficult to touch this subject because they know if they open this one, it's like open the Pandora box. What's coming out is not good, because so much over so many years have been covered up in this system that when you start to open up, it doesn't look so good for them, and they know they have the responsibility. So I think that's some of the problem here, and the politicians have never really been put up to what shall we say, be responsible for what's going on in the different communes in Norway.
So when you guys talk about the human rights of a child, are you talking about the November 1989 Convention of Rights of the Child that was adopted and ratified by the UN? Or are you talking about the annual convention that comes out? Because this is in accordance with Article 49. So which one are you guys talking about?
The Human Rights Convention.
So the Human Rights Convention is an annual, right? But wouldn't they gotten the basic rights then from the one from the UN in 1989, or no?
Yeah, it's sort of it's a sort of the same things, but the Human Rights Court and the convention there is more actively used in Norway.
Okay, so and Norway's ratified it and agreed to it. And so what you're saying is that the social workers in Norway that deal with child protection services don't know what the human rights of a child are. They're just dealing with the law of the land.
And that's where the problem comes in, because I think they know. They have been thought about this, especially after this Lobben versus Norway case in 2019. They have had lawyers teaching this, and they have lawyers working for them, so they know this. But the arrogance in many offices, especially where there are problems, is high, and they just don't care, because nobody really hold them responsible for what they're doing.
But what are they doing? I guess that's the question, because Morten said, like, this is, or before the show was telling me, like, they do stuff. So what are they doing? What's the Child Service Protection Agency in Norway doing that's like this travesty that the world needs to be aware of?
Well, they are put there to help families, first of all, help them. If some family have some problem, they are there to help. But what we see, the culture that have developed over years is that they are more eager to get in and take children out of the family
Okay.
and then place it in foster home or institution and then forget about the parents. And that is not
Okay.
according to the law. That's
But are they doing
against the
that
law.
because the child's being harmed, or are they doing it just because? Why they take? First of all, why are they going to the house to take the child? That's the first thing. Like, why are they going to the house? Do we know? Is there statistics that we can say they go for the house for X% of this and X% of that? And out of this 100 children, so many are you reunited, or out of every 100 children, no one's reunited ever with their parents?
Well, some year ago, the reason was violence, sexual harassment,
Okay.
narcotics, psychiatry, things like that, serious stuff.
Right.
But today, I think the majority of reasons is the so-called emotional parenthood.
Which
And
means what, though?
that's a rather diffuse thing because
Right.
they
So what does
put
that mean,
anything
though?
in that box.
What emotional parenthood mean? Because I have no idea what that means. That makes no sense to me.
You're American.
Yeah,
I know. Nothing makes sense to me.
that's a good one. It's sort of being able to see the child's needs.
Okay.
That you have eye contact with the children,
Yeah, especially.
stuff like that, and
Okay.
that brings up many problems because how about blind parents? It's not about the eyes. It's about the emotional expression of the parents. If the
Okay.
child have done something, it looks up to the parent. Is it safe? Is it okay? He look at the whole picture of the face. Is it anger from parents? Is it acceptance, or what is it? And that's the so-called eye contact. So it's
Right.
not the eyes in itself, it's the whole face, what kind of emotion the adult is reflecting to the child. And this can be anything. And when they come into a family and want to see if this is good or bad, they come in and look in a small window of time. They come
Okay.
2 hours, take a look, what's happening in that stressed environment. And then they judge the parents from that.
Yeah.
And that seldom end up good because just the setting, two people from childcare coming, sitting there looking at you for 2 hours,
Right.
and they are not looking to see that you have some good sides. They're looking for mistakes all the time. And that
So
is
how do they
very
get invited?
stressing.
But so how do they show up? Like, if I live in Norway and have children, how do they show up to my house? Like, all of a sudden they're here to hang out for 2 hours. Like, so did someone call them? Does the school call them? A neighbor? How do they get there? I mean, because just to show up for the house, that's that's think 1932. I get to kick in your door and do whatever I want to do. So how do they show up to the house in Norway?
Yeah, it's a sort of that way, but it starts with a message of worry from school or some health worker.
Okay.
That can be based on just anything.
Right.
Rumors or whatever.
If the child is exposed to mobbing in the school,
What's mobbing?
the school don't clear up
bullying?
Bullying.
Okay, bullying.
yeah,
Okay,
bullying
okay.
in school.
Yeah.
Then the school don't clear up. It's actually the school's responsibility to fix that according to Norwegian law. The environment in school is responsibility of the school.
Okay.
But that demands knowledge and resources.
Okay.
So they just send a message of worry to the childcare and kick the problem over there. And that's where everything starts to escalate because the school's responsibility is suddenly parents' incapability of taking care of the children.
Okay.
Everything is turned on the head, sort of.
Yeah.
And then the parents are told to come to the childcare normally to look at that message of worry and then they got the plan for how the childcare is going to work, and
Right.
that's the same plan for everybody,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
in itself is a problem, because some worries are all the worries are actually different, but you have one frame to put over every family. They talk to the parents, they try to split the parents, so they talk to one father, one mother, probably to put them up against each other. So I tell
I don't know
parents,
about that. I
go
don't know about
together.
that. I think they try to. I
Yeah,
think they try to get each side of the story. I don't think they're trying to put them
yeah.
up against each other. That's a little
Mm,
conspiratorial,
That's
unless
how you
you've heard
think.
that.
Yeah, you think rational now, but
I always think rational.
what we see is something else in
Okay.
some cases. So they take part. For example, they stay with the mother's version of a story and
Right.
against the father. They can kick the father out of the home while they are
yeah.
investigating. There are so many different happenings here, but
Right.
the main line, they talk to the parents, they talk to the children if they're old enough.
Okay.
They get information from school, healthcare, police, social services, all the things they can think of. They get
Right.
information, and
Okay.
the laws say that what they are going to look at is today's situation. But I have cases where they go back 24 years when the mother is 6 year old and have problem in her school, and they
Hmm.
use that kind of information in the case. And that's obviously not a good thing to do, because what happened 24 years ago had nothing to do with today's
Oh, so
situation.
they go back. So they go back and look at the parents' history, if you will. And if they
Yeah.
don't, and if they had a problem in school, they bring that up and say, because you had a problem in school, you do something with your
Yeah.
child.
But
Yeah.
Runa,
Yeah.
you have a wonderful picture of this, because you have told me and others as well that it's like a road, and if you're in the left shoulder of the road, then they are taking the children too early. If you're in the main road, things are okay normally. So the childcare are okay for some, of course. But then again, the worst thing, if you come too late, or if you take a girl or a boy, or split the family and send them normally all over Norway, and Norway is very, very big. It ends up with death. With the kids are killing it. It's committing suicides, and we have a
Yeah.
lot of cases on that as well. So it's horrible, and the politicians are doing nada. I tried. You know the case because you were
Yeah.
involved, and but they don't want to. They are looking away. You know. How many doesn't you know who has committed suicide?
Well, up to 2009, they produced the statistics for that,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was going up. It was about 136 children died in the childcare care care.
Is that a
But
year, or
when
is
I
that
put
over?
that out, yeah, in one
Was that
year
a year?
per year,
One year.
yeah,
1 year, 136
one year.
children passed away.
So
Okay.
the curve was going up, and
Right.
when I put that out on internet,
Right. Right.
they start showing it. They stop. No, I mean they stop showing it.
Okay.
But if we should fall on the curve, and it was rising like it did when they stopped giving this information out, we should be some about 160, 180 children a year
Okay.
on
And what do they
who
die of?
die in
What do they
childcare.
die? What do they, when they're in child protection in Norway, what are they dying of?
Suicide, violent
Okay.
deaths, narcotics,
Okay.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, then,
And
according to you, then they would be no better there than when they're with their parents.
no, actually, they are much worse out than
Worse.
even
And
if they stay in a dysfunctional family.
right. So how many children a year then does Child Services of Norway take from parents and put them in their service or in their protection, so to speak?
Well, they get about 50,000 message of worries, and I think at the moment they have about some 10,000 plus children
Okay.
placed in foster homes, institutions
Okay.
at the time. Yeah.
And so once they're placed at a foster home or institution, they never go back to their parents because whether there's violence or drugs or whatever it might be, they never get to go back because the state, for lack of a better term, feels that they're not safe there.
Yeah, they say so, but the laws say and the human rights say that they shall work for bring the children back again. So help the
Right.
parents who need it and bring the children and family together. But
Right.
there is another element here, and that's money.
Yeah.
Because foster parents, they make about at least 500,000-600,000 Norwegian per year per child.
60,000 US
Yeah,
Okay.
dollars.
per year per child, and some foster parents have 4 or 5 children. So
Wow.
you see,
That's
this
a
is
whole business.
this is
Yeah.
the whole business. So the childcare system also make money on this because they get a certain amount from the government.
Okay.
Some go to foster parents, but they keep the rest. And
Okay.
the foster parents pay tax. So that
Okay.
money also come into the community. And this is some of the problem. There is no real control in this system. We have a court system in Norway, but
Right.
my experience and many others show that the court system is actually backing up this system. It's an alibi for the system. There is no real judges who really go
Oh.
in and look at the case according to
Okay.
the law. So
Well,
that
there's a whole
makes
big
it
article
complicated.
which I'm kind of reading while you're talking, so I can get up on the subject that we're discussing. But according
Yeah.
to this, it's kind of what you're saying. The Norwegian Child Protection Services, commonly known as whatever, has been embroiled in controversy over a decade due to its practice of removing children from their parents.
Yeah.
So that's kind
But-
of crazy.
Stephen
Yes.
and Rune, there is also another thing, because a lot of people who's been who earlier was hired in the child protection, there's also money for them because they are starting up their own business as a
I'm sure.
advisor or consultant, for the child system. And I've been looking at, well, Rune knows this much better, how much, they are out with when the children are meeting the parents when the system allows it. It's not only one way. It's only one way, and I've seen some figures there that is crazy. They're earning way too much money, and the law listen to them because they are taken in as specialists, experts. Can you talk a bit about that, Rune? Because that's money.
Yeah,
money.
Well, before you start talking about that, there's a film that just came out last year about this issue, about an Indian lady, and they're saying that all these parents try to battle the Child Protection Agency in Norway, and they don't win. So basically, your Child Protection Agency in Norway is more of it's almost like it's a Hans Christian Andersen novel now. All of a sudden, like a Tiny Tim. It's like It's like we're going to take the kids. I don't know if they do cheap labor and make sneakers. Maybe they do. But my point is, it seems like for all the rhetoric, there's a lot of truth behind it, and no one's really talking about it. Great, they made an Indian filmmaker made a film. You guys are talking about it. There's some blurbs on the internet, but no one's really talking about them. The Child Protection Agency in Norway is now a business more than it is helping children.
Yeah. It's the film Mrs. Chatterjee was on the movie here last year, the Indian film you talk about, and that show the cynical part of this industry, because and I meet childcare workers and childcare bosses all over Norway, and I have gone into cases and show that what they're doing is so against the law that I have made some cities childcare where everybody was fired, everybody.
Okay.
And they have problem getting new people in. And I have gone into other cases where I document that case workers are trying to make the children say something so they don't have to go back to the parents. But I got it on tape, and
so how
that person was kicked out of it.
Right. How do you get involved with these cases, though? Like if someone's in Norway and Child Protection Services shows up at their door for whatever reason, how do they know, who you're going to call? Ghostbusters. How do they know to call you, or the lady that just walked by you? Either one of you. But how do they know who to call?
Good name. I am a sort of Ghostbuster. Go in and clean up the mess.
Okay, but how do they know to call you, though? Like, how do you get involved with a case?
By word of mouth, yeah.
Yeah. I think very many people in Norway know me because thanks to the biggest newspaper in Norway, they have made good advertising for me by criticizing me. Yeah, so
I've been reading all your criticism as well on the internet. So they have unfavorable things to say about you. So
the system don't like what I say because I threaten the money and the power. And these unions that stay behind the childcare workers, that's the people who brought the newspaper reading up. But that's maybe somebody who isn't me, to put it that way, would have killed themselves because of that. We have seen example where newspaper go after one person and they shoot themselves. But I have studied psychology for over 20 years. I have written book about psychopaths, so I know little about the crazy way of psychology, how that work. So I turn this around and use it against them. Because these people who criticize me, they don't talk about the work I do. They talk about me as a person. So ad hominem argumentation. They attack me. And they show me they have no argument. They want to take the man, not the ball. And that's actually, a lot of people understand that. And I feel I get very much support from families, everybody in Norway and Sweden, Poland, Denmark, they call me. And a lot of people working in the system too agree with me. Because when I go into a case, I don't go in to attack the person in childcare. I go in to ask the difficult question: what is the basis for your claims? And when they say, well, we think so and we feel like that, and then I ask, what's the scientific basis of your worry? And they cannot answer. And sometimes I go in and ask, why don't you follow the Human Rights Convention? Now, we just follow the Norwegian childcare law. Yeah, that's okay. But the convention is above that law. It's lex superior. And that's where the conversation gets difficult for them, because I probably know more than many of these caseworkers do. And then they start calling for the boss in the childcare to join the meeting and stuff like that. And sometimes they get serious problem because I argue from law and science,
Right.
while they try to attack me. So I can tell you that I have been, after several of these meetings, they report me to the police because they say I'm scary. So I think I now have 59 child cares reported me to police, and every one of them has been cancelled by the police. They just end it. They see there is no break of any law. But it's a sort of frustration in the childcare system.
So how do you get paid when you take a case? If someone calls you, do you get paid to take the case, or you just come in as a good Samaritan? So how does that work?
It's a sort of mix because, as Morten say, Norway is a long country. It's if you turn from Oslo north, if you turn that south, you come Italy, Rome. So through the whole Europe. So it's a very long country. So there are travel. I have to use plane to travel. And normally the people I help, they pay for travel and expenses concerning that most of the time. Yeah.
Right. And then out of the cases that you help, do you have I'm American, so everything's either a win or a loss. How many have you won, I guess, where the children get to stay with their parents and the children are thriving and doing well? And then how many, I guess, have you lost where they didn't care that you produced evidence and they were just like, too bad the kid's going to go to child services?
Well, win and lost is a little too concrete term. I know that I have canceled a lot of cases. They just stopped going after the children or parents. I know I have brought a lot of children back home. Some cases, special where I meet people who have a problem with communication. Childcare worker who they go into a sort of defense system. They not want to listen. They not want to talk. And then I bring this up on another level because I have a camera and I make a lot of videos. And when they are, it's a sort of childish behavior, I think, from these people. They sit there as the professional, but they have a really big problem communicating with somebody who know a little more than they do, because they know they're going to lose.
But why? Why, Rune, don't you think other countries has the same problems? It's typical Norwegian, this one, because I know a lot of people from the earlier what we called Eastern Europe. They are just there are many families that are running away from Norway. They have to.
Some Norwegian families run to Poland, some to Spain, some to Dubai. I have been all these places talking with them, making interview with them to bring this case out in the open. And the worst thing childcare want is to be exposed for what they are doing in the separate cases. That is the Achilles of this system, and that's what they don't like. So, but I don't go in with that first. I go in to have a dialogue, and I'm moving through solving the problem, because sometimes some parents need some help. There can be, for example, some parents, young parents I helped some year ago. The father, he was using some hashish, some narcotics. And we find out that, okay, that's not good for when you have the children. So we make an agreement. He take a blood test and urine test, to check that he doesn't have this in the system for 3 months. And if that is clear, okay, then case closed. And the childcare agreed. So that was the plan there. It was a solution to a problem. And sometimes the claims in the worries against the parents come from a neighbor that don't like them. It's false claims.
Okay.
But they start
Correct.
the whole process, the whole system start anyway. And that's sometimes make it difficult because the caseworker have a problem to narrow in what is actually the problem.
Okay.
They have a framework, that's how we do things here, and put this over the family and make a small thing very big.
Okay.
And we know that this is a very stressful situation for a family and for children, knowing that the child is here and are they trying to take the children or what are they doing? There is no, they have no, what shall we say, they get too little feedback of what they are going into. I had a case last year, for example, where the worry from the school was that this young boy used a sexualized language.
Okay.
Which
What does that mean in English?
In that group,
What does it mean when you use sexual? What does that mean in English, though?
Fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck
That's
you,
what he said,
hooker, and get lost, things like that. They try to be
if
tough.
you do, but to be fair, if you do meet a hooker, you usually do say "fuck you." I mean, so he's using it properly. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So okay, so he was using adult language in school, and so how did the case go?
Yeah, and that was very special because there was a gang of 9 boys and they all used that language, but only one got the worry home.
Okay.
And when they got the worry, they went to the childcare where they talk about the worry.
Right.
And then that was 13 June last year.
Okay.
And then he was sick, 14. The childcare was home looking at him. 15, the childcare should come, but they didn't come. 16, he come back to school, and the school say, "Oh, that language is gone." And that should be the end of the case. But now the worry is, how did that language disappear without childcare going in helping?
Right.
And they
It's
never
impossible.
thought of the fact that the mother and the child got the worry and they took it serious and he stopped using the language. That's very easy to understand.
Right.
Because
another thing, another thing
this is serious. Then the summer comes, he come back to school in August and the school say, "Oh, the language is gone." And they worry, how is that happening? Then they brought up a new worry. Oh, it must be the mother who exposed him to violence or sexual assault.
Right.
They fantasize about. So it went on to December. Then they take the boy acute out of home, placed in on secret institution where nobody know where he was. And that was when the mother contacted me.
Gotcha.
And I looked at the paper and I said, why did they take him? The case should be finished long time ago. We have the proof here. They even say themselves, the problem is gone.
Right.
So, and then she have a lawyer, but the lawyer say, it's impossible to appeal these acute cases. We just wait until we go into the system after Christmas.
Right.
But I say, no, we go after them now because this is not according to the law. So I wrote a 12-page appeal, and 2 days later he was home.
Okay.
But they didn't want to give up, so they took the case to the so-called fylkesnemnd. It's a lower court institution before the real court. and wanted to take the child into custody.
Oh, wow.
But the documentation I put up and a new lawyer that we brought in made it so they win. And then a few
Gotcha.
weeks later, the childcare say, okay, we give up. We are not going to appeal to another court. Finish. So the boy, after coming back just before Christmas last year, have stayed in the family. They are happy, but they move out of that commune. Because we found so many bad things about the school, about how the caseworker was working. You know, the school who reported that boy to childcare, they told the children, and remember, this is 10, 12-year-old children.
Right.
They told them, bring a child underwear to school, a used one. We can dig it down in the ground and see how fast it terminates in the soil. So after a couple of months, they dig it up again.
What's that have to do with anything?
Underwear.
But why?
You know?
Yeah, I understand that. So why do they need children's underwear?
Yeah, that's something we ask ourselves too, because we see there is a system in this. These people who should come in and help the parents, so-called, guidance, they were extremely sexualized, focused.
Gotcha.
The mother must have raped the son to stop him from talking. They started that crazy thinking. And that's where you see some of the problem in this system. There are caseworkers who lack serious knowledge about how to do their work. This have nothing to do with science, you know. This is made up of people's own ego. They have, I like to have children, you know. It's turning over to a pedophile sort of acting. And when I made 3 films in front of the Rådhus, the town hall in this city. And I think that made an impression on that, because nobody in that administration liked to be exposed for what the childcare was doing in that city.
Right.
And that's where I bring in the camera. I talk live. I tell people what's happening based on their scientific work, so-called, and what law they break. And a lot of people follow this. I have almost 30,000 followers now in Facebook and YouTube, TikTok, everywhere.
Right.
And this spread out very much. And of course, when I go in and make for the childcare, this is a problem. And that's where you see they use the newspaper to sort of make me look bad.
Gotcha.
Garbage you, yeah.
I turn this around. I use it as a good commercial because people know how this is.
You win. Like, how many cases a year do you take? How many cases a year do you take? And then how many do you, if you will, win where the child gets to stay with the parent?
I don't have statistics in front of me, but I think I'm involved in some 30, 40 cases every year.
Okay. And out of that, how much do you have a lot of, do you win like 50%, 80%? What's like, how do you, winning is where the kid stays with the parents, of course.
Yeah, that's a majority.
Okay, yeah.
Some is, that's why I react to this win or lose, because I never stop. I never stop. The cases that isn't finished, I go on. I go after these people. Either they are kicked out of their work, or we win.
So if the child ends up in child care, you still fight to get the child to come home.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
There is one thing. There is one thing viewers have to get to know, and that is when the child care comes home to the family, very, very often they have the cops with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all the neighborhood, everything, they see a cabs, and often two cars maybe.
Right.
Just to show kind of so, and nobody, even the police, has committees that can look down and see what they are doing. Revising papers, go in without further notice to read papers and what they're doing. Right. In childcare system, no one can. And one more thing I have to say, and that is crazy, because young students who are they are graduating and right. they are going to work such a place. They very often know more about the laws, about right. younger brains, but then they have, it's a leader problem, like everywhere else, in my opinion, because the leader on top is either not in communication with, he or she doesn't know what's going on under her, or don't care, or are together with them. But it's
But isn't your leader a king?
The young people, yeah, we have a leader as a king.
So shouldn't he be like looking into this? His people.
But I just have to emphasize that the young people who are starting are very, very, very often quitting.
Okay.
They're quitting. They find another occupation because they can't work there. If they are telling an older employee that this is not what we learned at the university, that, well, this is the way we do it here.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right. Well, this was fascinating, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a guest. I appreciate it. So hopefully after people see this, they'll take some action, and we'll go from there, hopefully. And if you want to come back and give us some updates, that would be pretty cool, I think, to hear to what's going on with the child care service in Norway. And if someone from child care service in Norway wants to come on and have a debate, I'd love for that. That would be fun too. I know they won't listen. I have to invite them because, if they don't,
politicians are able to stop this. Really, okay, they are the worst. They are cowards.
Okay, well, okay, that's right. So the Norway politicians are. Go ahead.
Runa.
Yeah, a little advice to tourists coming into Norway. Remember, childcare can also take your children in Norway. They don't care. We have seen that.
Oh, that's cool. Because I don't even have kids, but there's some kids I know that I'm taking to Norway. Norton, I'll be there next week. So, and I'll go child care where I'm going to be. It'll be good. They can take the kids. So it'll be good. Clean them up. So I'm happy with that.
We have to.
I don't have. So.
But this is damn serious. All the people who are killing themselves, who are, they can't talk with mom and dad on the phone. Nothing. This is fucking not good. Yeah, sorry, my language.
That's okay. We've said worse on this show. I think hopefully someone watching this will do something, whether they do a bigger story on it, whether I'm surprised that the UN or the Humanity, whatever council hasn't reached out to you and brought this to the attention of the world. So it would seem to me that I would go to the UN and go, hey, they're not complying with the 1989 Act. I would go to your Humanity Council and be like, you're not complying with the act of last year. That's where I would start. But what do I know? But it seems to me if they're not complying, whether it's a government like a Norway or not, someone needs to tell them. And really, just the guy made a movie. I don't think anybody watched it. I mean, maybe in Norway they did, but probably no one else. So I think it has to do with a lot of, you got to get out there and talk about it. So
I think it's on I think the movie is on Netflix in several countries.
Probably in Norway and Switzerland or Sweden and Poland. It's not here.
I saw it I saw it in Spain.
Okay,
they have it
country. All right. All right. Well, we'll put the link to the movie as well, so we'll see. So, Rolf, thank you so much. It's always good to see you. Yes,
Mr. Fardal down here, he has gotten so much shit that. But we need people who is not quitters, and we need people who have hearts and brains. So kudos to you, Rune.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, you did great. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. Don't forget to subscribe and like. You can catch us on wherever you get your podcast or here on YouTube. For podcasting, go to Two Old Farts Making Noises. Look for the Ad Hoc Show, and you can catch this here, or you can look at our pretty faces here on YouTube every Friday morning. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Cheers, boys.